Greetings, beloved. Welcome this evening to your place of happiness, Togetherness Media. I'm Anthony Powers. I am so excited to have you all here with me today. We have an amazing show. We have my main man, the cool, the collected, the beautiful, the dashing, the daring, and the intelligent Dr. Payam.
Hi, Anthony. How are you?
I'm divine, brother. How are you?
Long time no see. I hope our connection is good tonight. I'm
Yeah,
hoping
I
for
hope
it.
I hope so too. I pray so too. Yeah,
I
with Mercury retrograde, connections sometimes get kind of funky.
Yeah, I don't think I can hear you that well. I think your
Okay.
connection is not very good with me. So I hope in the studio there is a good connection. How is life treating you? I got frozen.
Yeah. Um, with a few challenges. So, it's been challenging. My grandfather died on Sunday, and today is the anniversary of the homegoing of both my father and my Sifu, my martial arts master. So it like my main martial arts master. So it's been a heavy week, but what you call it,
Um,
I'm strong. I'm strong enough to carry the loads.
I am sorry to hear that. I hope they're resting in peace.
Yes,
That's all we
yes,
can hope
likewise.
for.
Thank you so much. Yes,
We Today,
and they're no longer confounded by the body.
that's right. They're free now. They don't
Yes,
have to worry about carrying the body. They can just carry the spirit, and I'm sure they're going to do a good job with that one.
exactly.
So tonight we're going to talk about red flags, green flags of relationship, right? Something like that.
Red flags,
I,
red flags, green flags. When you have to get a can of black flag on it, and when it's time to raise the white flag.
yeah, yeah, definitely. These days we have to pick up the white flag. We can't have too much of red flags. It's causing a lot of problem. Especially in today's
Yes,
society, we get judged too quickly. So I was
yes.
thinking about maybe putting some pointers out there just to get a sense of what is a green flag relationship personality and behavior and practices that an individual can have that are more self-reflective and they show sort of empathy for themselves and for everybody else. Because obviously, we all know at the basis of everyone's relationship, there must be significant amount of trust. Because if we can't trust ourselves, we cannot trust someone else. And if there is no trust, there
Yes.
is really no relationship, regardless of what flag we're holding. If there is
Hmm.
no trust, it all becomes a red flag. So that's a good thing. So
Yeah.
I would start with saying that a person who actually does have a good amount of self-trust, they also have a great amount of self-respect and respect for others. I think
Yes.
that is so the best way I can describe a person who have had a great deal of personal growth. They have had a healthy relationship with their parents, with their peers, with their friends, with their family members. They display that when they come into a relationship with someone else. So that to me, when I see that, that person becomes automatically a kind of a green flag when they hold themselves responsible for everything that is happening in their life rather than everybody else.
Hmm.
Also, they
Oh my God.
honor a person who honor your boundaries and their own boundaries. Go ahead, please.
Yes. No, it's funny that you mentioned like that first thing. I've just recently been dealing with a friend who accusations. There was so much evidence to prove that the accusations were false. They still really like refuse to apologize for and that's like a huge thing. There's some people that in life, like even do wrong and they do things to people. They just will never admit that they were wrong or apologize, which is in and like it was just a huge red flag in relationships.
Right.
Some people just don't
It
have
is.
the awareness or too powerful. Continue.
Yeah, it
Sorry.
does. It does show a great sense of invulnerability. That means they don't display any vulnerability there. They don't take responsibility for their own actions or for their own inactions. They're not willing to compromise. They're usually one-sided, and whatever they think it seems to be accurate. Those are the people that are overly critical as well. So if you really have had
Yeah.
a chance to meet a person like that, you usually find that underlying characteristic that they have is that vulnerable, weak,
Yeah.
or wrong.
Insecure.
These three
And it's also,
characteristics are insecure. Yeah. Mhm.
yeah.
They either avoid conflict, or when they get into conflict, they want to dominate that conversation. They want to make sure at the end they become
Yeah.
winners. Like, I can't come out and be a loser.
Yeah.
They're usually overly critical of the other person. And I have to say this. I
Yes.
know a lot of people are going to think that I'm trying to basically put everybody in that category that are like that or combative. No, but a lot of these individuals are also very manipulative. They try to manipulate everyone else to think that they were right, or what they said is didn't seem to be what they think. So they may track back on
Yeah.
what they said, but they don't own up to it. They just change the story and
Yeah.
put it in a very manipulative way. They try to win the battle, win the fight, win the argument,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that is a red flag for a relationship. Because a person
Truth.
like that usually lacks empathy as well, because it at the
Mm.
cost of empathy means sometimes I have to apologize to you and say I made a mistake, or that's not what I meant, or I didn't say it right. I have some empathy for you. I apologize for hurting you, and that doesn't exist. So
Yeah.
they can't distinguish these kind of boundaries. It's all about my boundaries, and you don't have any boundaries. I just manipulate my way into winning this conflict or battle. So it's more of a not taking personal responsibility really for what they are and what they say.
Yeah, and I also find, and I definitely agree with everything you said. You said, which is a common theme with these people, and I often find that those people, oftentimes, because of the insecurities, tend to also carry a lot of envy. Uh,
Yeah.
a lot of envy and a lot of what's the word, like sometimes a little stingy, like they tend like a selfish nature as well. They're like they
Yes.
tend to have they tend to have an like almost like you ever, you know how some children like you go into their like you can like if you touch one of their toys, if one of their siblings touches a toy or moves it just like one thing, they'll just have a hissy. Some people never do
Absolutely.
that their entire life. They have like everything, every single possession, every single task has to be the exact same way, and oftentimes they end up caring more about those things than they do people. And um, and something beautiful
It
that you
comes
said, or
from
like insightful that you.
I don't know why you get cut off a lot in my ear. I can't hear you that well. Sorry. A lot
No,
of
no,
these
no,
a
I
lot
stopped
of
because you started talking.
No, sorry.
Continue.
A lot of these
That's okay.
individuals are, when you compare them to young children, it's because younger children, they're not self-reflective. They can't
Mm,
look at themselves and see a reflection of their displayed behavior and make corrections. I don't know if that makes sense. So because
yeah,
they're not mature enough to have that ability, they're not willing to compromise for anything. You can't depend on them. There is no dependability. It's like my way or highway. I don't have any empathy for another child.
yeah,
I'm not saying they're all like that, but some are, depending on their age, of course, and
hmm,
the level of growth. So
yes,
they're not self-reflective. They don't see themselves as the behavior they have. They only see themselves at what I can get out of what is happening right now. So
yeah,
it's like if they're not into maintaining a long-term relationship, that comes with self-reflection. you self-reflect and you're like, okay, if I want to have a long-term relationship, what should I do? I should be vulnerable. I should take care of this relationship.
Yes.
I should, and the other
Yeah.
person should be able to
And
depend on me. I should be able to compromise. I cannot just, it cannot just be about me. That means I cannot have a hard line. I have to have boundaries, but not hard lines. I have to be able to go back and forth and negotiate, but that doesn't exist with a person who lacks that. They don't have. They're
yeah.
often manipulative. They disregard boundaries for somebody else. They withhold affection for even somebody because they have to win an argument or be in charge.
Mhm.
They're hyper focused on the relationship in terms of what I can get out of it, not what we can get out of it. It's about me. So the hyper focus does not mean that the relationship is more important. It means I'm hyper focused as what kind of needs do I have, and can you meet those needs? So it's about me basically. And if I get into, they're inconsistent, and if they get into a conflict, it's about winning. It's not about you and I win together. It's about I win, and it doesn't matter what happens to you. And majority of the time, I find those people also ridiculing the partner. If they say something or they have a statement to make or
Mhm.
they share their feelings, they make fun of them. Like your feeling
Mhm.
does not matter, or this is something funny or something like that. They kind of put them down, like it's not important. But if they share their own view and their own ideas, God forbid if you make fun of them, they become extremely defensive immediately.
Yeah.
You
Exactly.
know.
Another two things. One thing I just want to piggyback on what you said earlier about how they are try to avoid conflict with authority with those who have a certain amount of authority over them, but like and they'll get into conflict with other people to avoid that conflict at times. And another red flag
Uh,
I see is I always pay attention to the way that people treat those who they have nothing to gain from. The way that people go to a restaurant, which you can't really do these days, like we're dining just open up again. I always pay attention. How do you treat your servers, your wait staffs?
so
How do
important.
you how
Mhm.
do you treat the valet? Like how does this person treat the valet? If somebody's panhandling, even if you don't give it to them, all right, what are their reactions after the
Mhm.
panhandler? We just call it like there and those are like there are certain things when you're watching a news story with them. How do they react to certain news stories? Like
Absolutely.
do they react with empathy? Do they react with disinterest? Um, how present is that person? um, when you're together, especially if the time together is limited. And if they're unable to be present because of a burn, how do they express and communicate the reason why they're unable to be present at that time? Those are like a
Yeah,
few of the other ones that I look at personally as far as red and green flags.
absolutely. Those are huge red flags.
Uh,
But you said something about a person being sort of kind of submissive, or maybe not so reactive or so hypersensitive to a manager or a boss. It's because they know they may lose something. There is an element of
mm,
threat there, right? So think
mm,
this person can actually hurt me. So therefore,
mm,
I'm going to either manipulate my way out of this conversation, or I'm going to become submissive and just take it. But then I'm going to take that. But when I'm in a relationship with somebody else where I may have the upper hand, or that person may be my equal, I'm going to manipulate, lie, and give myself permission to either control that person or totally dismiss their ideas and views and try to sell mine. I don't treat you then as an equal. Then I become the person that is dominant in this relationship. That is a red flag. It goes with the same type of treatment of others in a restaurant, for example, ordering somebody to bring something to them,
yes.
and if they don't quickly, they become reactionary and they forget who they are. Like you're just an
Hmm.
individual, the other person is an individual. Please treat them as a human being, and they forget that, and they try to even
Yeah.
correct that person. Oftentimes, you will see them correcting the waiter. Aren't you supposed to bring this now? Weren't you supposed to bring that then? So and then you will see that they totally lack that empathy, and they're trying to control. They're
Yeah.
trying to come to the state of control, like
Yeah.
how things are supposed to be. They become
Yeah.
enmeshed with their own idea of what it needs to be, and that's dangerous. And people
Yeah.
should be, I like to see people that are flexible.
And like and sometimes I also pay attention when people are hypercritical. It's okay to be constructively critical when it actually serves a purpose and like it's actually something worthy of the energy of criticizing. But then I like that's another red flag for me. Like when people are hypercritical and they will just end up like they find any excuse to nitpick over anything.
Yes,
Like quickly before we move on, like when you're talking and do you remember you've seen Coming to America before, right?
yes, many times. I love
Yeah,
it.
yeah. I was just thinking about which college. Oh, waiter, try my soup, sir. Is there
I can't
something
hear
wrong
you.
with your
I think
soup?
you got cut off.
Waiter, try my soup. Sir, is your soup too hot? Is it too cold? Try my soup. Okay, where's the spoon? Ah, ah. Yeah. Are you there, Doc? I see a smile. I'm not sure if I got cut up or if you got cut off. Um, Hopefully, one of us are still on here. We're going to need to figure out a way as well. I want to talk about some of the green flags. We spoke about red flags so far. And first of all, you cut off the Coming to America thing. I don't know if you heard it.
I
All right,
keep
you
losing
said.
you.
So right
So
now, like we're going to talk about. It's okay. So we're going to talk about
I
some of the
keep
green
losing you, and
flags.
then I
We
keep,
gave them some red flags.
yeah,
It's okay.
sorry, I
Which
keep
color we're
losing
back?
you,
You
and I
only
keep
misplaced
getting
me.
frozen. So
You didn't. It's okay. You
I
didn't
hope
just
in the
misplace me
studio
for
it
it. I'm
goes
still
well.
here. Yeah.
Okay. So
Question.
the
So
green flags should go ahead, please.
go ahead. No, that's what I was going to ask you for.
Oh, I was
You're on
just going
point.
to say, there are a few green flags that are obviously, we all know what they are, but there are some that I think it is extremely important. Uh, like I said, making sure that that person takes responsibility for themselves and others, because if even if at
Mm,
one point they are in the wrong, they are responsible enough to say, you know what, I have to do something about it, rather than no, it's you, you have to go fix yourself, or I have
yeah.
something to do with this and we have to do it together. So I would say responsibility is extremely important. Being insightful is very important. Insightful meaning I'm insightful into understanding when I'm wrong and when I have done something wrong, and I can be man enough or woman enough to step up and apologize for it, right? And then they're willing to share their feelings and their thoughts in a very honest and flexible way, meaning it's not just my way or highway, it's this is my feeling. That does not mean that your feeling should be the same. I'm not resistant to it. I'm flexible, open to listen to you. I will respect your feelings and you can respect mine. That shows a sign of maturity. And then I don't have to make you uncomfortable to make a point. I can make a point, you can make a point, but we don't have to make ourselves uncomfortable and make you each other uncomfortable. That's a green flag. That means when I'm in your presence, I don't feel stressed. I feel comfortable being myself. You feel comfortable being yourself. You're encouraged to share your dreams and everything that is about you. You're open and willing to express yourself because you know somebody's not about to put you down. They're in this relationship
Mm-hmm.
100%. That makes it about you and me. They're whole. They're one body, and they don't necessarily rush quickly to judgment. I hope that makes sense. But that's more of a
Yeah.
person that I would want to spend time with, because I think at the end of the day, even if they don't bring out my best, they don't bring out my worst. I will
Yeah.
leave comfortable. I will be happy. I'm okay. I'm in a good mood when I'm leaving. I don't feel I was pressured or stepped on. I don't think I was dismissed. They can't that person gives me a chance, and himself or herself, to examine themselves. I don't have to walk on eggshells if I'm around that person, that I have to worry about how they're going to feel or how they're going to react. They are not constantly accusing me or somebody else for how they feel. They don't fight
Mm-hmm.
to win an argument. You know what I mean? They don't constantly argue. They don't give me the silent treatment, because oftentimes people do that. They like they're gonna come. I'm sure you have seen those people. They're like, I never argued. I was just sitting there. Yeah, but you were sitting there for 2 hours giving a silent treatment to the other person, and you constantly do that in your
Yeah.
relationships. That's not fighting and arguing, but silent treatment is kind of aggressive, passive aggressive
Yeah,
way
it's
of
passive
dealing with
aggressive.
someone.
Yeah,
Meaning, yeah, it's
exactly.
passive. I'm gonna correct you by dismissing you. I'm gonna correct you or put you in
Mm-hmm.
your place, but not talking to you. I'm not gonna complain a lot, but when I'm
Yeah,
not saying anything means I am complaining. So that's easy to understand,
yeah,
so
exactly.
these are things that I would say that that person is maybe either afraid of the reaction they might get, or they're just giving you the silent treatment because they want to be in control in that way, in that sense. I'm in control of my own emotion. I won't say anything, but I'm also controlling the environment right now. You don't get anything to say either. You're not going to say anything because I'm giving you a silent treatment. We're not going to have a discussion. We're not going to share anything with, it's like you stay on your corner, I stay in my corner. We're
Yeah.
not going to have a relationship right now
Mm-hmm.
until I win.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It reminds me of, like with like some little kids. "Da, da, 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 I can't hear you. I can't hear you." It's like kind of like that. We're like little kids. Another green red flag, depending on how that person does. Pay attention to when your opinions are valued. Um, like how much that person values your opinion, and even in the interactions and the way that you guys and activities that you do together. Is it always an activity that they choose, or do they compromise and let you choose the activity? Sometimes if there's a movie, let's say you guys watch movies, does that person have to choose a movie the entire? And if it's the movie that you
Uh-huh.
choose, are they
Absolutely.
engaged? And or is an activity that you choose, or do they stay engaged in that activity, or do they complain the entire time, or do they just check out?
Exactly.
That's
Even
a
a
very
restaurant.
important thing. Yeah,
Even a restaurant.
exactly.
Do they want to pick the restaurant all the time, or are you allowed to open your mouth and say something and they would go with you? Now,
Yeah.
if they're vegetarian and you want to go somewhere that is not vegetarian, I can understand that, and we would
Yeah.
value that. But if they, at every
Yes.
given corner, they have to make a decision whether we go left or right, that is not okay. I take it one step further. I told one of my clients she wanted to date this guy, and I said, "Have you checked his social media?" She said, "No, I haven't done that." I said, "Why don't you?" Because that is where you will find a person with strong opinions, different from yours, that is not supposed to be with you, because
Hmm.
you don't want to go out with somebody like that and start arguing and fighting over all these strong ideas they hold. If they're very adamant that it has to be this way or that way, and you're not like that, you're going to suffer
Yeah.
unless you clear that up on the first day, and then you know that that person is not really strong, it's not holding those views very strongly, they're just his opinion or her opinion, then you can discuss it. But other than that, if they're very much stuck on their own opinion and you don't believe in any of those stuff, you're going
Hmm.
to suffer, because they're not going to have the flexibility. Eventually you're going to start walking on eggshells and you feel uncomfortable being in
Yeah.
that presence.
Another thing I recommend people do is pay it if you're when you go into business with somebody, or you're friends with somebody, or you're entering into a romantic relationship with somebody. Pay attention to the way that they speak about people that they were in those same type of relationships with before, and other relationships. How do they speak about their friends? How do they speak about their exes? How do they speak
Absolutely.
about their past business partners? That will also tell you, that will also give you a clue, as far as the way that they view things, their ability to take responsibility, and their ability to forgive. It'll let you know how petty, how forgiving they are, how open they are, that they are. And I find that that's
And how
another
honest they
very
are.
telling tale, and how honest they are. Exactly.
Absolutely. Yes, it's so important. And it also gives you a clue whether they take any responsibility in any of it, or is it just
Yes.
the other person. It was my
Yes.
ex-partner, my ex-girlfriend, my father, my parents, my mother did that. And it's always
Yeah.
about somebody else, and it's never about me. Like, I have always done a great job. I was always honest and fair and perfect. The other person was the one who was harmful, and shame on them. And that is
Yeah.
definitely a red flag. The other thing that I wanted to share, maybe the last thing that I wanted to share, you please, when you go into a relationship or you're with someone or in their presence and you feel like you want to take this relationship to the next step, I highly suggest that you share what's on your mind. Do not expect. A lot of
Mhm.
women, and I'm not trying to be sexist in any way, a lot of women assume that the guy should have known. He does not know. Please make
Yeah.
sure that you actually communicate in an open, honest way and not by pointing
Yes.
fingers, just the way you, this is the way I feel. This is the way I like to be treated. This is the way I like to
Yes.
have a relationship. This is the steps I like to take in a relationship. Don't assume that he knows that. And then next time you see him, you're like, how stupid. How come he didn't pick that up? He doesn't have to pick it up. You
Yeah.
can tell him. Be open, be honest,
Hmm.
share. Don't hold back
Exactly.
and just say, well, he has to know or she has to know. She doesn't have to know anything. You can share. Yes, there are certain things that they should automatically know.
Exactly.
They have to know, they have to be
Yeah.
flexible
Not
enough and
everybody is a
understanding enough.
mentalist.
Right. They have to be mature enough to say, okay, Anthony, what do you like to eat? It's not always my thing to say, where do you want to go eat so we
Yeah.
can go eat somewhere that you like, right? Or what kind of movie you want to watch?
Exactly.
Let's do it together. Or where do you want to walk? Which street you want to go to? Which shopping center you want to go to?
Yeah.
That's something very common. But as far as mind
And
reading,
on
like
the
how I'm, we have to stop doing that.
Karnak. Um, remember that with Johnny? The Great Karnak. There's another thing I do. I recommend is pay attention when you tell people. You mentioned about when you tell people the things that you like, the things that you appreciate, the little small gestures that you appreciate to have happen. And if you've expressed it a few
Yes.
times, pay attention if they ever uh, take those things and implement them. If you told somebody before multiple times, like, yeah, like, let's say, I really appreciate, like, every once in a while just rubbing my chest. Like, I'll just choose something simple, first thing I thought of. See if it's ever implemented. Like, see if the things that you told them give you comfort. Um, and like, and also, I know we have to close. See how often, let's say if you guys, if your shoulders were really bugging you and you ask for a shoulder rub. If like I've been around people that will keep on pushing it off and keep, oh yeah, I'll do it later, I'll do it a little bit later, and they'll keep on pushing it off, and they get so tired. Oh, I don't feel like I can't, and it just eventually goes by the wayside. So like,
Hmm.
see if the thing you need to bring in comfort, see how important it is for them to do on, not necessarily on a daily process, or like, but see, like, just like, see if it's important enough for them to implement into the relationship, um, and make sure that you do the same to give, and that you reciprocate and give them the things that they need, to make them feel better and feel comfortable. I've been
Absolutely.
talking to you, Dr. Cade. Always have an amazing, amazing conversation that makes me feel
Thank
so
you.
comfortable. Tell the people where they can find you.
Find me, okay, at Dr. Cade, Dr.Cade at hotmail.com, at yahoo.com, excuse me, or 310-709-1102. And for last word,
So,
I just want to say, please treat each other with equality. Please. Everyone is
yes.
each other's equal.
Yeah, treat each other with equality and kindness. Thank you so
Exactly.
much, brother. I love you.
Thank you. Have a wonderful evening. Good to see you. Have a good night.
You too, brother.
Thank you.
This
Bye
is
bye.
Anthony Powers. That was Dr. Cade. I'm Anthony Powers. This is Togetherness Media. You are wonderful. All of yours, all around the world. Man, we love y'all so much. And always, it's a reminder, be divine, you are love, and tune in. Tune in. We got so much stuff in.
bold new contour cut camera design, the fastest chip ever in Galaxy, and intelligent battery to outlast your day. Introducing Galaxy S21 Ultra.